Hello guys and welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms video. I'm RoyalMixGaming and today we're going to be talking about your 5 marches and what are some really good combos to use in the open field and ones that I would recommend. So we're going to start talking about these in this video. I'm also going to link the spreadsheet in the description of this video if you want to go to it yourself and look through the different options. There are plenty of other options that you can use than ones I'm listing here. These are just some of the best combos that I have seen, but there are other options that you can obviously use. If you think you have a better option, leave a comment down below, things like that. But these are options that I've seen used and are really good options to use in the open field. So the first one of the core commanders we're going to go over is Guan Yu. Guan Yu and Leonidas is going to give you a double AoE, be the most tanky option in this pair, and it's probably the made pair for Guan Yu. Guan Yu can be 5-1, 5-5, Leonidas can be 5-5, 1-1, could be expertise, but that's for more higher spenders, and it's probably the best made pair for Guan Yu. The second pair we're going to go over is Guan Yu and Alexander. It's going to give you extra march speed, it's going to give Guan Yu some extra damage because Alexander has the instant proc, and Guan Yu can be 5-1, 5-5, but Alexander needs to be expertise for all the extra damage, march speed, and his expertise. And then Guan Yu and Charles is going to give you extra tankiness because Charles has shields, extra march speed if you have him expertise. If you don't have Charles expertise, it's okay. It's also a decent pair to use. I'd recommend it as the lowest option though, and you should go with Alexander or Leonidas if you're going to be using this pair at all. The next commander we're going to go over is William. William can be 5-5, 1-1 or 5-5, 5-1. No need to expertise him, but Zhang Yu, as one of the top tier pairs for William, needs to be expertise. This combo is going to give you a lot of lower rage requirement, a lot of high skill damage, a double AoE, and is a really nice pair for William. The second more tankier option is going to be Saladin and William. Saladin is going to protect your William because he has extra skill damage reduction, normal attack reduction, things like that. Has a support tree, but you're only going to have one AoE, and Saladin's going to slow your target with one single target damage factor, which is a more free-to-play option and is very simple to use. The next commander we're going to go over is Nevsky and William. Nevsky can be 5-5, 5-1 before you expertise him, but I would recommend you expertise Nevsky because he gets a lot of extra skill damage once you expertise him. This combo is going to give you high DPS, and it's probably the best made pair now for William because it's going to give you another option to put Zhang Yu with Mehmed later on, and I would talk about that here in a moment. But Nevsky's going to give you a single target damage, William's going to provide your buffs, and your AoE. The third march that you can use, you have a couple different options. I would recommend Nebu and YSG because you're going to get a double AoE from Nebu and a second AoE from YSG, and it's probably the best combo I think for YSG at this moment. But if you want something tankier, you're going to be able to take more skill damage, you can do Ramses and YSG. Ramses is going to be much tankier than Nebu by a little bit, and then YSG is going to give you the AoE. If you have Saladin but have nowhere else to put him, you can use Saladin primary and use YSG secondary, kind of similar to Ramses and YSG, but would recommend that you put YSG with an archer commander majority of the time. But until then, you can use Saladin if you want, 5-5, 5-1, YSG expertise. Ramses probably should be expertise and Nebu should probably be expertise, but you could use them earlier on if you get all the damage and defense that they offer to you. But Saladin and YSG would be another option if you don't have those. And then Alex and YSG is for going to be the infantry players. It's going to give you march speed, the AoE from YSG, and then it's going to give you the instant proc damage and all the other benefits that Alexander can give you. For your fourth march, I'm going to give you a couple different options you can do from my experience. So Monitor and Artemisia is for the archer players. Artemisia is going to be usually silencing yourself, but a Monitor is going to remove it. If you use them both together, it's going to remove the silence, give you a bunch of all damage increase if you get the right talent trees for archers. It's a really well-made pair for Artemisia, and if you invested in Artemisia, a Monitor is your best pair for her. Another option I'm going to recommend to you is Saladin and Ethelfled. If you didn't use Saladin in the previous pairs, you can do Saladin and Ethelfled. Saladin's going to protect your Ethelfled and give you a debuff. It's a really good option. I'm not necessarily going to recommend Edward and Tommy unless you already have them and can use them as you have for major big spenders. I'm not going to recommend it, but it is in the sheet that I have here if you somehow have it and need to fill that march. On the same fourth march, we're going to go over some infantry and cav pairs that are other options. Saladin Khan is an oldie but goodie. It's going to protect your Con if you use Saladin primary, because Saladin's very tanky. Con does high DPS. You are going to miss some of the rage gen from Con, but if you put Con primary, you're going to get targeted pretty hard. Recommend Saladin primary, Con secondary, Saladin 5551, Con expertise for the double damage from his expertise. It is an okay combo, but not the best cav pair, but it's a good option to fill your 4th cav march if you have to. Alex and Herald is the infantry combo. Alex expertise and Herald need to be expertise. They're both going to be single target, high DPS. Alex is going to give you instant proc, march speed for Herald. Herald doesn't bring much march speed, so Alex is going to help him out. Herald's going to give you a lot of instant proc, kind of skill cycles, and help your Alex do more damage over time. And it's a decent infantry combo. The next one is going to be Pakal and Herald. Pakal and Herald are very tanky, take a lot of DPS, and if you want a combo, it's going to give you pretty much good trades all the time, except against archers. It's going to do a pretty good job of giving you a very good trade, and can also be a rally pair. I wouldn't necessarily recommend Pakal and Herald unless you want to be able to just jump out, hit somebody kind of thing, get a good trade, and kind of leave before you get on red. But it is a good infantry combo if you have Herald and you want something that's going to give you a good trade all the time. Still, for the 4th march, we're going to go over a bunch of different archer combos that you can use together that are really good combos for the open field. Cyrus and Ram is the highest DPS single march combo for archers as far as I know. Ramsey's going to give Cyrus some tankiness so he can really fire off his skills and give you a lot of single target damage. And march speed for Cyrus is going to help you get your archer march off the field once you get low. Gilgamesh and Cyrus is going to give you a lot of single target damage as well. Gilgamesh is going to apply the blood craving debuff, so if you have a Richard or something like that on the field, it's going to do extra damage to marches that heal. Cyrus is going to give you a lot of single target damage, rage gen, and some extra march speed, like I was saying, for the same combo with Ramses. Gilgamesh and Ramses is probably tankier than the other 2 options because they both give you some health and defense. Ramses is going to be giving you the no heal ability on the target and damage over time. Gilgamesh is going to apply the blood craving debuff, like I was saying from the previous option, and give you another good archer combo. Ramses and Tommy's is going to give you a single target damage from Ramses and Tamaris. Tamaris is also going to apply a skill damage debuff to the target, which is going to provide extra skill damage taken up to, I think it's 45% for all marches hitting the target. It's a good support march if you're going to want to bring another archer march and you want a Tommy debuff on that target. Another option that's not on here is Artemisia and Tommy. The only reason I would recommend that march over Ramses and Tommy is I think Ramses can go other places. Tommy and Artemisia is going to give you a silence from Artemisia, which is going to give you more stacks over time, kind of like the Edward combo with Tommy, where it's going to give you more stacks because there's less time to fire your active skill, and there's some talents you can avoid in the defense tree, in the archer tree, that you can get less rage and be able to apply more stacks, up to 15 stacks. It is a different option that you can use, and it's a good archer combo as well as all these other archer combos. Some more combos that you can use, like I was saying, is Zhang Yu with Mehmed. Mehmed needs to have his relic, so he gives Zhang Yu some extra health and makes him much tankier. XY has a lower rage requirement, which is going to give you more options to fire your active skill more times for both commanders, and it's going to be a little bit tankier option than XY and William, and probably about the same as XY and Nevsky, but if you want to put Nevsky with William, it gives you a different option to put Zhang Yu with somebody else and give you a double AoE, and is a very nice combo that I plan to use. Another option that you can use is Honda and Tommy. It's a very niche one that you can use, but Honda is going to give you a lot of skill damage. Tommy's going to apply the skill damage debuff. Hide her behind Honda, and it's going to give you a decent option for that combo, but it is a higher spender combo that I wouldn't recommend to most people. Attila and Takeda is an old one that's kind of like Pakal and Herald. They do the exact same thing, a lot of normal attack damage, but if you have this combo, you can put this into your murder ball. But if you're going to be using some of the other commanders that are like skill damage and you want to apply skill damage debuffs, I wouldn't recommend them unless you have all calves and are only using calves, because otherwise you need the skill damage from other commanders and the skill damage buffs from other commanders that'll help you out a lot more than Attila and Takeda will. But they do what they do best, which is do a lot of normal attacks and cause a lot of severely wounded to the target. So it's still a good option if you have it. For your 5th and final march, I would recommend you try to work in a support march, but if you can't, you can always use one of the other damage combos from the previous ones I was mentioning to fill that spot until you can get a support march for your 5th march. Because in general, a support march in KVK is going to provide more buffs to you and your allies, or debuffs to help you take the target down or be more tanky in the open field, and it's going to help your other 4 marches more than another DPS would in general. It could be good to use all DPS, it's up to you, but a support march is obviously a good option, especially when you start getting into 6 and 7 marches. You really need to bring in a support march at some point to aid your other marches to do more damage. So the support marches that I'm going to recommend to you is going to be, the lowest option is Constantine and Joan. Constantine only needs to be 5-5-1-1. Joan needs to be expertise. Constantine provides an all damage reduction to your team. Joan's going to provide you rage and some different buffs for each troop type. The next option up, the next cheapest, is going to be Trajan and Joan, because you can get Trajan to 5-5-1-5. And then obviously you're going to want to expertise him, but until then 5-5-1-5 is going to bring you a tanky option that's going to buff skill damage for your team, and Joan's going to give you the same buffs as before with the rage and different buffs for each troop type. Trajan and Constantine together is a very, very, very tanky option. Wouldn't recommend necessarily unless you don't somehow want to use Joan and you want the double buff from Trajan and Constantine, where you get the all damage reduction and the skill damage buffs from Trajan. The next option is going to be another cheaper option than Trajan and Constantine together, but it's going to be the majority of people are going to use is Trajan and Ethelfled. Trajan needs to be probably expertise at some point, like I was mentioning. Ethelfled does need to be expertise because she's basically free to everybody. Ethelfled's going to bring a defense, health, and attack debuff on all targets in her fan-shaped area. Trajan is going to give you the skill damage buff and apply more all damage taken on the target, and it's also a good option as your support march. And a final option that you can use is Trajan or Constantine with Mulan, but you need to either have Mulan expertise or have her at the minimum of 5-5-1-5 and have her relic, which is going to help you out with extra health. You can also get the Ethelfled relic for any of these combos, and it'll help you out even more with any of these combos that you can use. You could also use Constantine and Ethelfled if you don't like the Joan option. But in general, like I was saying, using a support march at your 5th or 6th option is a very good addition to your team and help you do more damage or buff your marches to the point where they do better overall. So those are the 5 marches that you can use, up to 6, maybe even 7 marches if you use some of the other combos that I was listing when I was talking about your 4th march. You can use any of those to include into your 6th and 7th marches if you need to, but like I was saying, support march is a very good option to use once you get into 6 and 7 marches because it's going to help you. But in general, those would be the combos that I would recommend to you. Like I was saying, there are other options that you can use, but these are ones that I have seen used. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like it if you did. Leave a comment down below if you have some other options that you think are really, really good and I missed. There obviously are other options like I was saying, but these are the ones that we have in a spreadsheet that we like a lot. Also subscribe if you haven't yet already, because I'll be bringing more content with our KVK here pretty soon. Gonna try to stream my past 4. Be a lot of fun, so hope you guys had a nice day, enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.